Do you ever ask yourself if immigration is such a problem in this country, then why haven't we fixed it? Do you think it's a relatively new issue due to the previous administration or maybe the one before that? If so, then you, my friend, have been the victim of the longest con in America. Do not worry, you're not alone. People have been falling for it since 1790. Oh, wait, but this time it's different, right? Because this time they're criminals. Right. They've always been criminals, dangerous, threaten the moral standings and visions of this country. And while you think that today you can separate yourself from it because maybe they're not targeting your heritage, but you can guarantee at one point they did. You see, between 1790 and the early 1800s, it was anyone that was basically not white. But that changed between 1840s to the 1850s. That included the Irish and German Catholics, framing them as a threat to the American identity. Moving to the 1870s through the 1890s, that targeted Chinese, particularly women, claiming that they were all prostitutes. And then for the 1890s, between 1920s, it was pretty much all Southern European countries, but mainly focusing on Italians, especially Southern Italians, that caused lynching and mass unaliving. They were replaced by the Japanese immigrants, which overlapped between the 1930s and the 1960s with Mexicans. Of course, between the 1970s to 1980s, it then moved to Southeast Asians because of the Vietnam War, which then moved to Haitians due to the AIDS epidemic up through the 90s. After that, it moved to Muslims and Arabs into the 2000s pre and post 9/11, which then moved to the Latino immigrants. Broadly, that has lasted up to this day, even though through COVID outbreak there was a reignite of the Asian profiling. Each of these periods has had bouts of mass deportations and civil unrest, with citizens being illegally deported, accidental unalively, following by congressional hearings that would discuss these horrendous acts. So here we are over 200 years later, and they still haven't found a solution because it's the easiest way to get Americans scared and distracted from the real political agenda. Which is why I've drafted Amendment 11 in my Bill of Structural Integrity to fix these so-called problems. First, it reinforces the 14th Amendment and requires real due process immigration proceedings. It creates an independent immigration court separate from the DOJ, so immigration judges are no longer controlled by the executive branch. It prohibits deporting somebody to a country where they're likely to be harmed, and creates constitutional standards for detention, including independent inspections of facilities, and bans all for-profit facilities. Fifth, it protects children and family unity. And best of all, it requires transparency with published regular public reports on detention, deportations, unalive events, family separations, children in custody, and overall spending. And finally, it protects asylum while also recognizing that the U.S. cannot ignore its own role in creating instability abroad. Want better for this country? Go to the site and state your position. Stop thinking things can't get better. The only time they do is when the public makes it happen. And my site is the only verified anonymous citizens can state their position and then hold every legislator to what the people want before the 2026 midterms. Please help spread the word by liking, sharing, and follow for more, because we only got 75 more days to make this happen.